Hello everyone, this is Vishwesh and we are here in the series of videos on aptitude skills. Today we are going to deal with the topic percentages. So we will see this topic in detail. So in this video we are going to understand the concept of percentages. We will see the key strategy to deal with this topic percentages, and we will have few questions, practice problems. So let's start with the concept. So basically when we calculate percentage, we already have learned this in school days, but here we would like to revise it once again, and if in case we have missed any particular point, this will get revised over here. So we have three kind of points here. So first one is 40 marks out of 80. Let's consider that we have one subject, let's say if it is mathematics. In this subject we got 40 marks in one of the exam, and total marks were 80. So out of 80 we got 40. How do we calculate percentages? So percentages will be equals to 40 marks which we got and divided by 80, and this multiplied by 100. So what exactly we are doing here? We are comparing 40 marks, our 40 marks with total marks. We are comparing 40 marks with 80 marks and then multiply by 100, which gives the percentage as 50%. And then we say that in mathematics I got 50%. Correct? So this is how we calculate the percentages, and this is how the concept is, comparing 40 marks with 80 with total. In case of when we visit to mall and there if we see the 50% discount is going on, then actually this 50%, that poster or that banner which is mentioned with 50%, this 50% is always linked with something, and it is linked with the labeled price or MRP. Correct? So if MRP of the product is rupees 2000, then after 50% discount we get it at rupees 1000. So this 50%, this particular figure or this particular number is not individual, it is always linked with something, and that something in this case is the MRP. Correct? Even in some cases we say that I will be giving my 100%, or I am sure that I will get 100% result when I put efforts. So this 100% means what? Whatever I can do, whatever is my capability, whatever is my capacity, accordingly I will put everything, I will put every effort, and I will get 100% result out of it. So this is how we, even though we say this 100%, 50% very vaguely or randomly, still it is always linked with something, and this is the concept of percentages. So next time whenever you see any figure mentioning percentages, 50%, 40% or something, it is always linked with something, it is not individual. Okay, so this is the important part here. When we will be solving the questions in this video itself, you will come to know that this concept in detail. So we will see this over there as well. Now let's go to the next part, which is the calculation part. Mainly the shortcut tricks we will discuss here to calculate different percentages. So here we will be, simple example, we will be considering 50% of 100. Now 50% of 100 is 50, the figure 50. Now this we can calculate in different ways, like 50%. So this can be calculation 50%, and calculation we have to do for 100, so multiply by 100. So here 100 we can cancel and we get 50 easily. Another way to calculate this would be 50%. We know that 50% is half or 0.5, so we can consider 1 by 2, and we have to find out 50% of 100, so multiplied by 100, and this also will give 50. So this is maybe second way. Third way, we can consider this as 0.5. 50 by 100 is nothing but 0.5. So 0.5 multiplied by 100, this will also again give the same answer, 50. So in short, there are different ways to calculate the same calculation, 50% of something, and as per your convenience, as per your habit, you can use any method. The only thing is we should get correct answer, right? Similarly, if we are talking about 25%, 25% is nothing but 25%, or 25% is nothing but 1 by 4, or it can be 0.25. Any method we can use and we can calculate this. So 25% of 100 will be 25. Then 100% of 100. Now many of the learners, many of the students get confused here. What can be 100% of 100? So generally, if we ask individually, they start giving answers as 1 or maybe 1000 or something else. But 100% of something means the total figure we have to consider as it is, the original figure. So answer here, it should be 100. 100% of 100 is 100. Now 200%, here also many of the students get confused. 200% of 100 means we have to make double of it. Since 100% is the same amount, it is nothing but multiplied by 1. 200% will be multiplied by 2 or double of that amount. Similarly, 500% of 100 will be 5 times of 100, which is 500, and so on. Okay. Okay, next we have 30% of 90. Now this also can be calculated in different ways. 30%, which is 100, 30 by 100, and we have to calculate it for 90, so we can multiply this by 90, and then we can simplify it. 0 0 we can cancel, 9 3s are 27. So this can be one way, or 30% can be 3 by 10 multiplied by 100, multiplied by 90, which is the calculation we have to do, or 30% can be 0.3 into 90, correct? So whichever method you can, which is suitable for you, you can use it. So that will be calculation for 30% of 90. Now here we have to use some method or shortcut trick. 21% of 65. So either you can consider 0.21, but when we consider this as 0.21 multiplied by 65, so here we need to do this multiplication, and that will consume some time. Or if you consider this as 21 by 100 multiplied by 65, this calculation will also consume some time. So basically, for 21 to calculate this 21% of 65, we need to use some trick, and that trick we will learn here. So basically, in case of 21% of 65, we are going to split this 21% into two parts, or let's say three parts. So first part will be 10%, second part will be again 10%, and third part will be 1%. Now 10% of 65 we will consider, again 10% of 65 and 1% of 65. So basically 21% of 65, of means multiplication, this can be written as 10% plus 10% plus 1%, and out of the bracket multiplication of 65 will be as it is. This is how we are going to do it. So we split this into three parts. Now 10% of 65 is very easy, it is 6.5. If 100% is 65 itself, 10% will be the 1/10, and 1/10 of the 65 will be 6.5. Similarly, 10% of 65 will be 6.5, and 1% of 65 will be 100th or 1 by 100, and that can be, we can shift decimal by 2 places on the left side, which is 0.65. Now simply adding these three will give the final answer. So 6 plus 6, 12, 0.5 is 1, so 13 point this as it is 65. 13.65 is the final answer for this. Now many times those students who are habitual to use calculator are not able to calculate this, maybe using paper as well, but after practice, after a very good practice, we can calculate this in our mind without using pen and paper as well. We will be able to do this mental calculation, but obviously practice is much required over here. Let's calculate this, the last one, 89% of 41. Now this 89%, let me erase this. So question is 89% of says multiplication, and the figure is 41. Now 89% we can split into again maybe three parts. So maybe we can consider 100% minus 10% minus 1%. Correct? So 100% of 41 will be the 41 figure itself, minus 10% of 41 will be 4.1, minus 1% of 41 will be 0.41. Correct? Now 41 minus 4.1 minus 0.41, if we do this calculation we will get the final answer. Let's do this. 41 minus 4 first we will do. So answer is 37. 37 minus 0.1, it will be 36.9. Let's consider 0 also, so that this calculation will be easy. 36.90. Then minus 0.4 we can do first, and then 0.01. So basically we are splitting this again, 0.40 and 0.01. So 36.90 minus 0.40 will give 36.50, and this, if we subtract, the answer will be 36.49. So this calculation we did without using calculator as well as using the trick. We will not say here without using pen and paper, but with practice again we can do this without using pen and paper as well. So let it be any difficult example. If it is 89% of 41.2, although if it is like this, still we can do it. How can we do it? We can calculate 100% of it, then 10%, minus 10% I mean, and minus 1% again. So let it be any figure here, and let it be any figure here as well. If it is 89.2% of, let's say, 41, still we will be able to calculate. We need to split this into 4 parts. First part is 100, then minus 10, minus 1, plus 0.2%. Now 0.2% again we can have 0.1 and 0.1 2 times. So this is how, using the technique of split off and round off, we will be able to calculate any percentages. Let it be any percentages. Okay, now let's move to the next part of concept, which is reverse of percentages. Now basically this concept is like this. If we calculate 50% of 100, then the answer will be same if we reverse the figures. Here you can see. So 50% of 100 or 100% of 50, the answer is same, which is 50. Even if we calculate this 10% of 60, which is 6 actually, and 60% of 10, which is again 6, so answer is same. So even if we reverse the figures here in case of percentages, the answer is going to remain same. Now this concept we can use in case of very difficult examples like this. Just we calculated this 89%. Let's say if it is 89% of 50, then instead of splitting this into 3 parts or 4 parts and then calculating, adding, etc., instead of that, if we make it 50% of 89, 50% of 89 is nothing but half of 89. So half of 89 we can easily calculate, which is 44.5. So within 2-3 seconds we will get answer if we know this concept. And if it is possible, it's not possible in every cases, but in case if it is possible like this, 89% of 50, then we can use it, and that will make the calculations very easy. Now let's move on to the next part, which is the key strategy. We will discuss here the key strategy to deal with percentages problems. So key strategy, we already have discussed it during the calculation, and that part is nothing but always percentages are linked with something. Just we had the discussion on the previous slide that if we are calculating 20%, if we are saying, now this 20% is linked with something always. If it is math subject, as we have discussed in the previous slide, so we got 40 marks out of 80, and this is how the percentages were 50%. So these 50% were with respect to or with reference to 80. So, and even if it is discount given on some MRP, then if it is 20% discount, this 20% discount is linked with MRP, the price, labeled price. And this is how the percentage, whenever you think or whenever you see the percentages, always remember that it is linked or it is with reference to some number, some figure. So this is the key strategy which you can use during solving these percentages. Now let's move on to the questions. Here we can use the actual concepts of percentages. So this is the low difficulty question, and a fruit seller had some apples. He sells 40% apples and still he has 420 apples with him. Originally he had how many? So it may be A, B, C, D. Now here you can pause the video and check if you are able to solve it. If not, you can go through this solution part. So initially what we can do, we can assume the fruit seller had X apples. So originally he had X apples with him. Now what is given? 40% of the apples he sold. So 40%, now here we are seeing the percent figure, 40% of the apples. Now this 40% is linked with X. Originally he had X apples, so out of those originally X apples he sold 40%. So here the equation will be 40% of X, 40% of X he sold, and now he has 420 apples with him, correct? Now after selling 40%, he is remaining with 420 apples, or we can say that he is remaining with 60% of the apples. 40% he sold and 60% will be remaining, correct? Now if 60% of the apples are remaining, then easily we can say that 60% is linked with, originally he had X apples, so X, it is linked with X. So 60% of X he is remaining with, which is given as 420. So here we got the equation. So we can calculate it further. 420 divided by 60%. 60% divided by, so 60 upon 100, which will be in numerator. So this will be the calculation. So we can simply cancel this. 6 1s are 6. 6 7s are 42. This 0 and this one more 0. So total there will be 700. 700 apples, which is option D. So here we are on the next question. Now this question is of a little high difficulty, we can say medium difficulty level as compared to the last question, previous question. A batsman scored 110 runs, which included 3 boundaries and 8 sixes. What percent of his total score did he make by running between the wickets? Now again, here I will request to take a pause and if possible try to solve it. If you are not getting the answer, you can go through the solution part. Now here the batsman has scored 110 runs. So total score he made was 110. Okay, 110. Now question is what percent of his total score did he make by running between the wickets? Now when we are talking about running between the wickets, it's excluding the boundaries and sixes. So he had 3 boundaries, which is 3 into 4, and 8 sixes, which is 8 into 6. 3 4s are 12, 8 6s are 48, and this makes the 60 runs. So if we subtract this 60 from 110, What will be the answer? 110 minus 60. The answer will be 50. Correct. And these 50 runs he made, the batsman made by running between the wickets. Now question is, what percent of his total score did he make running between the wickets? So we have to compare this. These are the runs running between the wickets. These runs are running between the wickets. So we have to compare these 50 runs with total score. Here it is mentioned total score. What percent of his total score? So we have to compare this 50 with total score. Total score is 110 and obviously multiply by 100 whenever we calculate percentage. So here we can cancel this 0 0. So it will be 500 upon 11. 11 ones are 11, 11 fours are 44, 6 is remaining, 60 it will become. 11 5s are 55, still 5 is remaining, and that we can write as it is, 5 by 11. So this answer 45, 5 by 11 is final, and percent sign we can mention. So option B is correct here. Now let's go to the one more medium difficulty level question, and the question is A is equals to X percent of Y, B is equals to Y percent of X, then which of the following is true? Now this is a little tricky question. Pause the video, try for this question, and if not possible, if you are not getting the answer, you can look at the solution here. Now here what is given? A is equals to X percent, we will write it this, of says multiplication Y. So this can be written as X per cent. Correct? X percent is nothing but X per cent. Multiply by Y as it is. And we can interchange this position X on Y on this side, and we can exchange the position. So it may be written as Y upon 100 into X. Since multiplication is there, we can do this. And Y upon 100 is nothing but Y percent. Multiplication is nothing but of, and X we can write as it is. So Y percent of X, which is B here, which is Y percent of X. So in short, A is equals to B. This equation or this relation we got from these steps. Now if we look at the options, A is smaller than B, no, this is not true. A is greater than B, no. Relationship between A and B cannot be determined, no, this is also not correct. We are able to determine it here. If X is smaller than Y, then A is greater than B, no, this is also not the case. Actually it is A is equals to B. So option must be E. Option must be E, none of this. So correct relation is A is equals to B. Let's go to the next question. Now here a student multiplied a number by 3 by 5 instead of 5 by 3. What is the percentage error in the calculation? Now this is high difficulty level question. You must try this. Pause the video, try this question, and then if you are not able to get the answer, you can come back here. So question is, a student is there and he multiplied a number by 3 by 5 instead of 5 by 3. So he made a mistake. By mistake he multiplied that number with 3 by 5 instead of 5 by 3. Now what was that number? That we don't know. So what we can do is we can consider X as the number. The number was X. This is how we can consider. Now what is the mistake? By mistake he multiplied that number with 3 by 5. So we can consider here the wrong case or mistake case, which is X into 3 by 5. This is mistake. And correct case, correct multiplication would be, you can mention here the correct multiplication would be X into 5 by 3. Okay. Now here we have to calculate percentage error. This word is very important. Percentage error. These two words are important. Now first we have to concentrate on error part, and then we will think of percentage. Now error will be difference between these two, correct case and wrong case. Difference between these two. Now this is a bigger number and this is smaller. A bigger multiplication and smaller multiplication. So error will be difference between these two. So difference is 5 by 3x minus 3 by 5x. This will be the error. So error is equals to this. Now we have to calculate percentage error. We don't just have to calculate error, we have to calculate percentage error. As I said earlier, whenever we are thinking of percentage, it is always linked with something. It is linked with some number, with some maybe original figure or something. So here we have to compare this error with something, and that something is nothing but the original case, correct case. So correct case is 5 by 3x. So we will be comparing this error with correct multiplication 5 by 3x and then multiply by 100 to make it percentage. So this calculation should give the correct answer. So here we can take x as common. So it will be 5 by 3 minus 3 by 5 in the bracket divided by 5 by 3x. X we can cancel. Multiplication by 100 will be as it is. Then we'll write it over here. We'll use this space. Now here we can make cross multiplication. 5 5 is 25. 25 minus 3 3 is 9. 25 minus 9 divided by 5 3 is 15. So divided by 15. And this entire figure divided by 5 by 3. Here we can mention it 5 by 3. And multiply by 100 will be as it is. Then solving it further, we can calculate this. 25 minus 9 will be 16. So 16 divided by 15, and this will go up. So it will be 3 by 5 and then multiply by 100. Now solving this further, 3 1s are 3, 3 5s are 15, 5 1s are 5, 5 20s are 100. So this will give 320 upon 16 2s are 32 and 1 0. So 320 upon 5. So 5 1s are 5, 5 6s are 30, 2 is carry, 6 4s are 20. So 64% must be the correct answer, which is option D. So option D is correct here. Now let's move on to the last question. So last question is again of high difficulty level. Let's read the question first. Gauri went to the stationer's and bought things worth rupees 25, out of which 30 paise went on the sales tax on taxable purchases. If the tax rate was 6%, then what was the cost of the tax-free items? Now, since this is high difficulty level question, everyone must try this. Pause the video, try for this question, do it 2 times, 3 times, 5 times, 10 times I will say. Still if you are not getting the answer, then look at this video, get some hint. Okay. Now here Gauri has purchased the items worth rupees 25. So she spent rupees 25, out of which 30 paise she paid on sales tax. So out of this 0.3, instead of 30 paise I will mention it, 0.3 rupees she paid for sales tax on taxable purchases. If the tax rate is this 6%, then what was the cost of the tax-free items? Now this 25 rupees she spent, out of these 25 there will be few taxable items, taxable, and there will be no tax on few of the items. Now taxable items, she paid 0.30 as the tax. Okay, and let's say taxable items are X. Okay, taxable items are we can say X rupees. Now here if taxable items are X rupees and 0.3 she paid as the tax, then the rate is also given, 6% is rate. So taxable items were of rupees X into 6% rate, 0.06 I will consider here. This should give the calculation as 0.30, correct? So overall it should be X is equals to 0.30 upon 0.06. Now this can be 30 upon 6 if we shift the decimal places, and 6 1s are 6, 6 5s are. So rupees 5. Rupees 5 is what? X, which is taxable items. So taxable items of were of rupees 5. Now here many of the students make mistake that if 5 rupees is for taxable items, then non-taxable items will be rupees 20. But option D 20 is incorrect. This is incorrect. Why? Because taxable items were costing rupees 5, and this tax, that also we need to add in it. So 5 rupees plus tax 0.3, and that calculation is 5.3 rupees, and this is correct value of taxable items. Taxable items of rupees 5 and tax 0.30, and remaining means 19.70. 20 minus 0.3, 19.70 rupees will be spent on non-taxable items. So what was the cost of tax-free items or non-taxable items? That will be 19.70 and not 20. So 19.70 will be correct option. So this is how in case of percentages the questions are tricky many times, but if you remember that percentage and it is always linked with some figure or something, original figure or some MRP or something, then this will make the questions very easy. So this is how we can end this topic here. Thank you.